bakers, I'm Kye, and we're in the studio today making lemon poppy seed scones. It's a really quick and easy recipe, but there's a couple things that make it extra special. Get your oven preheated to 400 degrees because these are gonna be ready to go in the oven in no time. Let's get started. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is make your citrus sugar. So add your sugar, 132 grams, and now comes the part of the recipe that might take the longest, but you can enjoy it. You're going to zest 2 lemons, and it's going to smell amazing in your kitchen. So enjoy this step. So each lemon will produce a generous tablespoon full of rind, and this is where that super lemony flavor comes from. So we'll go ahead and zest the second lemon, and now I'm going to massage the zest into the sugar, which helps release the lemon oil. So this lemon sugar is like a superpower ingredient. You could swap it in for the sugar in your favorite sugar cookie recipe, and you would have amazing lemon cookies. Next, we'll add our flour. We're using all-purpose flour, and now I'll add my poppy seeds, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. And that's it, that's the dry ingredients. So now I'll whisk them all together to combine. I'll create a well in the center, which is basically just a hole. So this is 341 grams of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice right to the cream. So now I'm going to bring the dough together, just starting in the center of the well and mixing gently to combine it with the flour. This is definitely not a step you'd want to do in the mixer because that would make the dough tough. You just need a couple gentle strokes to bring the dough together. So you just want to fold the dough a couple times until there aren't any dry bits in the bottom of the bowl. And if you're not sure if you're there, you can pause and squeeze the dough and see if it holds together. And if it mostly holds together, then you've probably mixed it enough. If you still have a lot of dry bits, give it a couple more folds. These scones are almost done, so I'm just gonna take a minute to clean up and then we'll shape the scones. It's okay if your dough hasn't come together into one smooth ball yet. We're going to avoid over-mixing our dough because that is the secret to super tender scones. So just use your hands to kind of pat the dough, just a couple gentle folds, almost like a kneading motion to bring it together. Now we're ready to pat it out. That's it. This is so simple. And if you have a bench knife, one of the handy things about this is you always have a ruler on hand. So this is exactly 6 inches. So I'm aiming for a rectangle that is about as wide as my bench knife and just a little bit longer. So using your bench knife or a chef's knife, cut the dough into thirds, and we're going to stack these pieces on top of one another. And this just helps clean up any edges, it helps build some structure, and brings the dough together without over-mixing. So again, we get those super tender scones. I'll put a little bit of flour on the top and then use my hands to press it out into a rectangle that same size, about 6 inches by 8 inches. If the dough starts sticking to your hands, just sprinkle on a little bit more flour. So I'm patting this dough into an 8 by 6 inch rectangle. Again, almost there. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is simple, this is breezy. You just want to make it about 3 1/4 inch thick. So before cutting our scones into triangles, just use your bench knife to just loosen underneath to make sure it's not sticking. If it is sticking, just grab a little bit of extra flour, sprinkle some under there before cutting. Make sure it can move freely. Now I'm going to use my knife to cut the scone dough in half lengthwise, and then in half again to make 4 pieces. And then each of these little rectangles, I'll cut in half along the diagonal to make triangles. I feel like triangle scones just feel really elegant and classic. They're fun to eat, but you could cut these into squares if you wanted, or you could even make them smaller if you wanted mini scones. Just note that if you do cut them smaller, you'll probably need to bake them for less time, so just keep an eye on them. So I've got my 8 triangles. I'm going to put them on a baking sheet that has a piece of parchment on it. And then we're going to put them in the freezer for about 15 minutes. So this step is optional. If you've got guests that are having coffee and you need scones fast, you can skip it. But if you have a little bit of time, pop this tray into the freezer for about 15 minutes, and it will help the scones hold their shape while they're baking and give them even just a little bit more height. After your scones have chilled, You want to double up or nest your baking sheets, and this will protect the bottom of the scones from getting too brown. So we can still bake at a high temperature, get that nice puff, and they bake really fast, but they stay tender and get just perfectly golden brown. So these bake for 25 to 28 minutes, and we'll check on them then. Our lemon poppy seed scones have come out of the oven and cooled just slightly, and they look so good. The tops are nice and brown, they've got some cracks in them, and the bottoms look beautiful, nice and toasty brown, but not too dark. And while they're cooling, I'm going to make the glaze. It's a really simple glaze, but it adds even more lemon flavor. So this simple glaze has just 4 ingredients, and it starts with 199, it's okay if you use 200 grams of confectioner sugar. And I'm going to sift mine. If it seems lumpy, it's good to just give it a quick sift. We sift because we want our glaze to be silky smooth and cover the scones really evenly, and you don't want any lumps. So my confectioner sugar is sifted, and I'm adding just a pinch of salt to help round out flavors. So I have my lemons, and I'm now going to add about 35 grams of freshly squeezed juice right to this glaze, and I'm looking for 35 grams. 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, and this just adds a little bit of richness to the glaze and balances out some of that lemon acidity. So now I'll whisk it all together. At first it might look like it's a little bit dry, but keep whisking and it will come together. Make sure that you get the sides of the bowl so that it's all incorporated. Once you've brought the glaze together, it should be a little bit thinner than honey and should drizzle really nicely off of your whisk. So my scones are still a little bit warm, so that will help the glaze spread. We're going to dip the tops right into the bowl and then let any excess just drip back off. This is a super fast way to glaze all of them without using extra tools. If you have any bare spots and you have some excess glaze, just drizzle it on right at the end. Use all of that delicious lemon glaze. Our lemon poppy seed scones are finally ready to taste. They're so beautiful with the glaze dripping down the sides, and I can't wait to dig in. Oh, look at that texture. You can tell it's gonna be super tender and soft. It almost looks like a cake. These are so bright and lemony. I can see the lemon zest flecked with the poppy seeds. They're beautiful, they're delicious, they're tender. These are not boring, dry scones. You're going to want to make these over and over again on repeat, and you can because they're so fast and easy. You're going to love them. Find the recipe on our website. Thanks for watching.